Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I appreciate you coming on today. I think we got a pretty good short webinar for you. We did do a webinar similar to this about 3 or 4 months ago, and definitely over the last month or two, I've gotten a huge spike in calls from you guys, just kind of going over some advertising game plans, some opportunities that have been brought to you, and I think really I've seen a lot of you guys you're getting called by advertising companies trying to sell their services to you, and I just want to kind of go through a few good points today that you should be aware of when you're talking to guys who want you to hire them per se to do the advertising. And so I think my summary for the webinar is these kind of points right here. Right off the bat, if you're not sure what you're doing, don't do it, okay? And that seems to be the most common phone call I get. I got a call the other day from a gentleman who said, look, Yelp called me up, and they want to offer me, quite a bit of, free service for the next few months, but in turn, I have to sign up long-term for their, maximum package and blah, blah, blah. And, the thing I always try to say is, okay, so you're going to do this. One, why are you going to do it? Two, what are the goals you hope you achieve from doing something like this? And three, who's really monitoring it? And those are the three components to any good advertising campaign that you have to do. So I think the biggest tip I would give everybody is if you are going to be investing in a lot of advertising, I mean like serious investing, $5,000 to $10,000 a year, you really should have somebody internally, that means someone within your office, either running it for you or monitoring it on a week-by-week basis. And I find that a lot of independent agents do not go that route. They tend to just kind of outsource it, spend $10,000 to $20,000, and they really don't know why they're doing it or what they're getting or even really what they're marketing. So those are just kind of some things, some feedback I kind of get from when I talk to people. But I think the keys is one, like I said, if you're not sure, absolutely do not do it. Use some common sense. Again, this one guy was kind of solicited to market really specifically auto insurance. Yeah, he sold auto insurance, but he made most of his money with commercial insurance. And he kind of specifically told me he hated doing business with people who quoted for price. Yet here he is considering investing $10,000 to market for people who are looking to quote for price, right? So to me, that's a common sense thing. That doesn't make sense for that particular model. Most importantly, whatever type of marketing you're going to do, you have to do research, okay? You have to see who your competition is, what the amount they're investing, and actually put some time into it. And we'll go through a few things in a few minutes here, different types of marketing available to you. But I think right there, that's one of the biggest things I find insurance brokers do not do. They do very little research. Very rarely do they have any idea what the competition is actually investing. And this is why they lose. This is why they invest, and this is why they fail. So those are just some key important things. Again, it comes back to common sense when you kind of go about doing advertising. I'll tell you another little story. I had a gentleman who wanted to do really some marketing on Google in Missouri. He wanted to try to compete with eHealth Insurance for people typing in health insurance. And he seemed to think that he could compete with eHealth Insurance spending about $100 a week. So I kind of told him the same thing. I said, look, one, I don't believe it. I said, I'm an expert in that type of stuff. I don't believe $100 is going to get you anywhere. I said, why don't you do some research? So together, he kind of paid me to do some real research and consulting for him. And together we did it, and we went in there. And basically, in St. Louis, to try to compete with eHealth Insurance on Google, he was going to have to spend an upwards of $50,000 to $100,000 a month to compete with them, to be in the same position they were. He was flabbergasted. He had no idea. And I said, look, some of this stuff online is serious. There are companies that have departments that run this stuff. And, you are not going to be able to go head-to-head with these companies. You're just not. Their budget is it's $1 million budget marketing. Yours may be $1,000, $5,000. So my point is that's okay. You can still be successful. I'm going to try to give you a few tips here in a few minutes, but you have to recognize that. You have to do your due diligence, understand what you're getting yourself into, and then use some common sense and say, hey, can I win at this? Can I actually profit from my investment? So as I've always said, I'm very much pro-advertising. Like I said before, there are pitfalls. You can waste a lot of money. It's very, very competitive. You need to be organized and prepared, but there are results there for the taking. So for anyone who's looking to get started, I would highly suggest Google. Google's pay-per-click. I know it's been around now for 14 years, but to me, it's still the best place to invest your money. I know there's a lot of companies out there like Yelp, like Manta, like the Yellow Pages. They're still out there trying to get some money. You know, at the end of the day, those places I think are, in my opinion, unproven. They may work in some locations, but in other locations they may not work. So you have to be cognizant and use some common sense if it's going to be right for you. But what I did was I kind of pulled up Google and I typed in Texas auto insurance. And you know, one of the things I said was do some research, see who your competition is. And when you kind of put in Texas auto insurance, if you go through this page, I found that there was only one independent company out of all the results. So what that means is for Texas auto insurance, which is a very generic, very broad search, everyone on here is a Direct Write, Geico, MetLife, Esurance, State Farm. You know, I guess my point is that the competition is corporate, and when the competition is completely corporate, you want to back down. You are not going to win that fight. So my point is that if you were going to be doing some advertising on Google for auto insurance in Texas, you probably would want to pick another type of term. You know, maybe you're going to try something different like Dallas. You know, you pick a niche product, SR22, or something to that extent that's a little bit more niche and that gets you involved where you have an even playing field. So my point is go in after today's webinar, and if you want to do some Google marketing, type in some keywords. See who the competition is. If it's mostly independent agents, you got a fighting chance. If it's corporations, you're not going to win that game. You're going to spend a lot of money and probably not get the types of traction you want to get. Some beginner mistakes when you set up ads is I'm not getting any clicks. If that's the case, you need to set up different keywords. You may need to increase the amount you're bidding. For those of you that aren't really experts in Google pay-per-click, it's kind of like an auction market. Whoever pays the most is shown the highest. So there's a strategy with how much you're bidding and what words you're kind of bidding on. I had a guy the other day said he was getting 50 clicks a day, but he wasn't getting any leads. So, you know, when that's happening, that means the people are clicking on your ad, they're going to the landing page, but the landing page isn't converting. So that in that case, you have to kind of take a look at the back end of your advertising. Where are you sending people? Do you need to change the content on there? That type of thing. So I guess my point, guys, is there's a lot of mistakes you can make, and most importantly, this thing's pretty complicated. Any online advertising is complicated, and that's why I always get nervous when, you know, a company calls up somebody and they sell them on the idea of doing it, and then the broker really has no control over what's happening. To me, that's very likely not going to be a successful investment. And I think my point for today's webinar is to kind of go through some of these things. These are the types of things you need to be thinking about, and I think it's important that there is some involvement by you if you get yourself involved in these types of advertising. You need to think about what the ad says, where the people are going, what type of thing are you offering them, and if they're interested, how do they obtain what you're offering them? You know, like I said, there's a lot of variables to this. And, you know, I think it's important to understand that kind of stuff. So I think I'll close with, you know, if you have been offered some type of program that you think is worthwhile, please feel free to email me the information. I would be happy to review it for you for free. I'll kind of hit you with things to think about, things that are positives, negatives, and I'd be happy to kind of give you some consulting on that. But that being said, I think it's important that you're open-minded to this stuff, because, you know, as time continues to move forward, it becomes more and more important, and it becomes more and more powerful, and there's more and more results, and this is why there's more and more competition. So guys, I appreciate your time today. I know it was short, but I wanted to keep this kind of simple and get you thinking about some things. Look forward to talking to everyone next week. Have a great day. Bye-bye.